Welcome to the bush. As you can see behind me, I have a lot of leftover concrete cinder blocks from working on the cabin and different things. And I've wanted to try this idea for a long time. I want to show how you could incorporate in maybe a more urban survival type of situation. You could incorporate having some building materials at your use. So we're going to try tonight to incorporate these cinder blocks into a basic survival bushcraft style shelter. Well, y'all know what time it is. No, not tool time. Step 2 time. Trying an American Gold today. Ooh, that's pretty good. Yeah, not bad at all. It's got a nice hop flavor, nice malt. Anyway, yeah. So pretty easy setup today. I was doing the setup at the shelter, and the tipster was doing some fishing. I don't think she had much luck. Hence the reason why I don't fish this pond. Gotta get this pond stocked up. But anyway, yeah. So the work is done. Now it's time to relax. Let's talk just a little bit about this shelter and what we have going on here. So what we have going on here is a real simple, basic idea, a basic lean-to shelter using concrete blocks on the ends to hold your poles up. As you can see, I ran my poles through the concrete blocks, and it works great because they have those holes in them, they're hollow. And it also blocks the wind coming from each end of your shelter and gives you more of an opportunity to, yes, I say, trap the heat inside of your shelter. And you're getting a lot of radiant heat, as Dave Canterbury would say, because you're sleeping at the same level as your fire. This is kind of a combination of 2 schools of thought on how to trap heat and how to use as much radiant heat as possible. This is another thing that I've been trying to do here lately, is use one tarp for everything. So one tarp for my ground cloth, wrap that tarp around and bring it over top for your shelter as well. So it makes it so you carry a bigger tarp in your pack, but one tarp covers it all. We also put in a heat shield or reflector wall, as some people would call it. But really, what it is just a windbreak. And the idea, we want less of the heat going that way or getting blown away, and we want to keep more of it in our immediate camping area. You can see, as always, I've got my wood stacked here by my head. So when I wake up in the night and the fire needs a stick of wood, simply throw it on. Don't have to leave my bedroll for that. We've got our wall of concrete blocks. I wish I had a few more so I could make it taller and more windproof, but we'll be just fine. You can see my pole for the top is coming through here, and then what would be like my ridge pole is coming through there, and then I've got a pole on the back there to keep everything taut. Let's talk about some possible negatives to this shelter. One of the negative aspects of doing it this way is if it were to rain, rain would come in between the wall and my tarp and get down possibly under my bedroll. So really, in a true rainy situation, you would want to have your tarp extended over top of the walls somehow. But we're not expecting any rain tonight, so our main goal tonight is just to trap the heat. It's supposed to get down, not super cold, but close to freezing tonight. So we want to be roasty toasty warm. Another thing that might be an issue is if it were to rain, I would imagine rain would probably start to pool and puddle on the top of this tarp right here. An easy way to fix that would be simply run some sticks going long ways or sideways, however you want to look at it. Run some sticks under it to keep it from pooling. But again, we're not expecting any rain tonight. We just want to trap heat. This is my first time doing a Dakota fire hole on and in the bush episode. These are really, really neat because they're super efficient, clean way to burn your wood. They produce less smoke than a typical fire because they draw and breathe well. They also, because you dig a hole way down in the ground, flames are not seen from far away. So if you're trying to be more stealthy in your camp, you're trying to produce less smoke, and you're trying to be more stealthy, not produce light. And a Dakota fire hole is really good for that. It's also really good to cook over because as you're digging the hole out, you simply put the dirt around it and you create this ledge. So you could take two sticks like I have here and you can create some sort of a cooking service or an area for shish kebabs or whatever. So you don't have to come up with a way to elevate your food over the fire. You could simply put a bush pot, boom, right there on your two sticks, and you're good to go. Now, what makes a Dakota fire hole work is you dig the initial hole, you dig that out this size that you want your fire to be, but then you dig a small hole beside it, and as you saw earlier, I took a stick and I simply hollowed out a space in between the two holes. So I have a space here for oxygen, for fresh air to come in and fuel the fire. And so that's how that works. So your fresh air comes in through here, and then it creates a drawing effect. And what it does, you can see that I have hardly any sticks here on this fire. If I take these two away, there's really hardly nothing here. But we still have a flame going. And that's because the Dakota fire hole is about the most efficient way to burn your fuel that you can come up with. So if you're in an area where you don't have a lot of firewood or a lot of fuel, you can simply have a fire that's teeny tiny. I mean, it's literally burning on 5 or 6 sticks right now. And it'll burn completely out and clean. So you have a really efficient, stealthy way to move from campsite to campsite if you're ever in a survival situation. You know it's good when it lights the end of your stick on fire. Earlier today, I was here getting ready to set up my campsite, and I found this grill grate. This is here from when my grandparents had a campsite here almost 40 years ago. when I was a kid, over 30 plus years ago now. We used to stay here at this pond. They had a couple campers, they had some tents. We used to stay here, and this was just barely sticking out of the ground, and I dug it out of the ground earlier. And it's still in fairly good shape. It's just a neat little grill grate. So the great thing about the Dakota fire hole is, you know, you've got your fire is actually recessed into the ground enough that you can put a grill grate right over top of it. Oh baby, finally we're gonna get some properly cooked freaking. Remember in California was not enough, but right here in Southeast Iowa in the bush, oh, it's hot enough. That is a better looking tuna steak than I've ever done on the gas grill, on a flat top, in a skillet. You need that sear. You need that good sear. And it's hard to get it from anything other than a good campfire. Secret sauce. 1 minute per side. In the bush. Yeah. You win some, you lose some. Something to keep in mind if you do this, or if you get into this as a hobby, is the sleep in a shelter situation like this. I struggle with sleep issues anyway. I mean, I really struggle. Sometimes sleep is almost unattainable for me, and that's at home in a regular bed. In a situation like this, where the birds are extremely loud and there's just all kinds of nature sounds around. A lot of times it wakes me up super early and I just cannot get back to sleep. The wind might be blowing and your tarp might be flapping around. There's just all kinds of things. Or the sun comes out, like right here, there's absolutely no shade right here. And it is already like 70 degrees today. Whenever I film one of these episodes of In the Bush or go camping even, I always make sure that I don't have big plans the next day. Now that doesn't mean that I don't have things to get done, because unfortunately I do, but at least it's nothing pressing. If there's anything really important the next day, stay home and sleep in your own bed, or make sure that you have a nice camper where you know you're going to sleep good, because this kind of a sleeping setup, although you can make it reasonably comfortable, it's not going to be like your bed. Do I regret coming out here? If I'd have known I wasn't going to sleep good? No, not at all. I'll do it again in a heartbeat. I'll do it over and over. It's something that when you're into this stuff, you put your body through this kind of torture almost. Anyway, I'm going to get this camp cleaned up and get the heck out of here, and perhaps a nap is in order. That's another option too when you get home from your camp out. This is a really cool thing about a Dakota fire hole. This morning at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, the sun started beating down, started getting hot, so I buried my fire. I just simply got up, peed, took my shovel, and moved all the dirt in and covered that fire hole. So now I don't have to worry about, since the wind is kicked up, I don't have to worry about it catching the field on fire or anything like that. And it cooled things off in this shelter and allowed me to sleep in a little bit. So this shelter worked pretty good. It's pretty sturdy too with the cement blocks. It's not going to blow over or anything like that. This is an 8x10 tarp, and it provided me with enough of a ground cloth, and it provided me with an overhang as well. So one tarp to do it all. It's a pretty cool concept, and I like it. Tried and true way to build a shelter for sure. And basically you just need something to hold your tarp up, so you can use on the sides whatever you want, but the cement blocks worked great. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time in the bush.